All right, Tuesday night, Raj is in the house. Welcome to the Krug Show. Hope everybody's having a great day. We're going to talk a lot of Niners right now. Join us. All right, Tuesday night, welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. We're also brought to you tonight, sponsored by LearnKeys Upskill Academy, an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. Whether you're interested in IT, cybersecurity, marketing, or another high-demand field, they offer over 30 certification programs to help you take the next step in your career. They've been in business for 37 years. They've worked with over 200,000 students and place over 100 graduates every month in well-paying jobs. So LearnKeys Upskill Academy, the sponsor of tonight's show. The link is in the description. If we can help you, help yourself in your career, we want to do it. So there you go. Raj, good to see you, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Feeling well. It's week 2 of free agency. Last week was crazy, but I'm doing good.
Let's just jump right in. Kyle Juszczyk, this is off the Coach Yak Twitter. He says Kyle Juszczyk discussed re-signing with the Niners. He said the team came to him and said they were having financial restrictions. Let's hear from Juszczyk here and hear what he had to say. This should be kind of interesting. This is courtesy of Sirius XM, Kyle Juszczyk.
The last couple of days, it's funny. You said it was a short stint that I was a free agent, but for me, I mean, it felt again like a lifetime. I had discussions with them throughout the offseason that maybe it was a possibility that I was going to have to take a pay cut or we're going to have to rework some things in my contract, but it was never anything definite. It was just something that they put on my radar and something that, I needed to be prepared for. And just as things went on, I just the optimist in me started telling myself that, man, I don't think we're going to have to do this. It's getting close to the actual free agency period. Haven't heard too much. Things are kind of looking good. But then, they finally, a couple of days before that, were like, yeah, this is a real thing. The financial restrictions we're under are a real thing. And, they kind of put it in my court of whether, I wanted to be released or if we wanted to continue to try and negotiate a pay cut. But I think, like anybody, it's good to see what your market is. And so they gave me the opportunity to do that. And so me and my agent, went to work and, we had some interested teams and, we explored those possibilities because I feel like that's just fair to me and my family. You got to explore those possibilities, even if it's something that deep down maybe you don't want to do. We looked into it, and I think just to put it in the simplest terms, at the end of the day, it was too much to leave home. I wanted to be a Niner, and we were able to get to a number that I was comfortable with, and then we were able to make the deal, and I couldn't be happier, and I'm trying not to look back at all. Like, I'm just happy to be there and know I'm locked in for 2 more years. The last couple.
What do you think, Raj? Is it a good move that they cut him? Is it a good move that they re-signed him? Would you rather, should they have moved on, or is Juszczyk's value too great and you're glad he's back? How do you feel about this whole saga?
Yeah, that's a good question because I think the fan base is split on this one. Like, a lot of people wanted him gone. A lot of people said he's done. He's not really worth his weight. Not worth the money. They pay him a lot for a fullback. Not a lot of teams use a fullback. And I'm guessing he looked at the market. Like he says, he looked at the market and he probably wasn't getting what he thought he was getting because, let's be honest, not a lot of teams use a fullback. He probably got a decent offer somewhere, but ultimately the 49ers gave him 2 years with Pro Bowl incentives. If you look at the NFC, he's going to make the Pro Bowl regardless because he's probably the only Pro Bowl getting voted in, right? Like, Niner fans are going to vote him in. So that's $250,000 easy every year. That's $500K easy money. So I think that's part of it. But ultimately, I like him coming back because the 49ers lost so many veterans. Like, they lost a lot of key. Like, I know they lost players and everybody's upset, but to me, I don't think they lost anybody of significance other than Dre Greenlaw. We talked about this last week. Now, I do think, though, the players they lost were big veterans. You got Mooney Ward, you lost Hufanga, you lost Debo, you lost Greenlaw. Like, at the end of the day, you needed to have at least another veteran in the locker room because they're getting younger. They are telling us they're building this team through the draft. They're doing what the Rams did, right? 2023. Gut this team, go through the draft, make your team younger. But you need a few veterans. And I also think that George Kittle was spiraling out. Him and his family, his wife and Kristen, they were very sad after this happened. I mean, they're best friends. They've been on the team from day one, right? Niners, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan took over 2017. First draft class, George Kittle. First free agency class, Kyle Juszczyk. So I think for the mental aspect for George Kittle, like he needed a guy out there that could help him in this locker room. I think Kyle Juszczyk was that guy. And CMC too. Like it's a trio, the three amigos, right? They all posted when he signed. So I think ultimately for the fan base, because they were sad they're losing the players, you get at least one fan favorite back. For the locker room, it's good. Now, in terms of his, abilities on the field, he's not the most elite player, but he is a glue guy. He's a glue guy. And you need to have at least one good glue guy, on the team. So I liked it. I don't think it was bad. A lot of people out there hated this month, Larry. What do you think?
Well, it's just what happened was, Grant's the biggest name in the space. He's got the biggest following, and he did this whole video about you didn't go with, Mason, but you did go with Juice. And then how many people parroted that in the next 48 hours? Oh, my biggest issue is they got rid of Mason and they kept Juice. They're totally different people, totally different players. They do different things, and it's not replacing them it's a different process. It's hard to find a fullback because there just aren't a lot of fullbacks. And I have no problem paying Juszczyk for one more year. It's not that I think that he's really lost it, but to me, it's a loud statement that you're going to have to change out your center because, you're not running the ball on the goal line at all at the end of the year, and you have a Pro Bowl fullback. So and by re-signing him, you're telling us that he's not the issue. Okay, well, if he's not the issue, then the center is the issue, or Banks or Pooney, and Banks is moving on. So, really, it comes down to Brendel. It's like you got to run the ball. You have to be able to run the ball, and they really couldn't at the end of the year. So, is it Juszczyk or not? And they're saying, hey, it's not Juszczyk, so it's got to be Brendel. So to me, this is more solidifies Brendel's departure than anything, but maybe not because they seem to like Brendel. I will say this: it's going to be an interesting time for the 49ers. And I have no problem. It'll be hard to replace Juszczyk. So now you got Juszczyk coming back. There's another need that's off the list. But you lose Mason, and I don't think that's a terrible loss either because I think you can get backs in the draft. But now you need to get a back. Before it was like, well, you need O-line, D-line, linebacker, free safety. You're starting to pile up your needs, and it's going to be very challenging. In fact, I was thinking maybe tonight we might do a quick mock draft just without trading and just seeing how many of their needs can we actually fill. They filled one when they signed DeMarcus Robinson. So they added a veteran receiver. So now they don't need two receivers. They probably just need one. Yeah. They added the blocking tight end. So instead of needing maybe two tight ends, they probably need one. They added Mac Jones. So instead of needing a rookie quarterback, they now have Purdy, Mac Jones, and Tanner Mordecai. So they probably could get through this draft without drafting a quarterback. Yeah. And they did add Richie Grant and Jason Pinnock, Trey Brown, and Trey Tomlinson in the secondary, as well as Siran Neal. So maybe that, some of the, they maybe don't need to lean defensive back quite as early, maybe, or as often. I don't know. That's so maybe some of their needs have been filled by free agency. What do you think? What was your overall feel of what they got done in free agency?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And for going back to the Jordan Mason thing, I know a lot of people missed, they're upset. Jordan Mason was a good running back, but I feel like ultimately the Niners are saying he was our running back 3 and they got value out of him. He was undrafted and you ended up getting, a pretty solid draft pick. And then you moved up 27 picks. I know there's a lot of people that said you could have got more, but if you look back, Matt Breida, Jeff Wilson, and this is kind of on par with what they got back. And I think the Niners wanted to let him go and have an opportunity to get to a team where he could probably be utilized more as a running back, one eventually, and right now at least a running back too. And Minnesota right now, they have a team where they have Aaron Jones as running back 1, and he's older and he might fall apart. So Jordan Mason's gonna be waiting in the wings. He's gonna be the best handcuff, one of the best handcuffs in the NFL this season. So I like Jordan Mason, great player. He held it down for a couple of weeks when CMC was there, but I think the Niners, they value pass catching out of the backfield, and Guerrero, better pass catcher. He can do that, way better than Mason. And no shot to Mason. He's a good running back, but I'm okay with the trade. I know a lot of people weren't. I was one of those people that was okay. Yeah, that's fine. I like Mason. You got value out of an undrafted running back. The 49ers can find undrafted running backs like with their eyes closed, hands tied behind the back. So I'm not worried about that. I know they didn't get a lot of big time sexy names in the free agency, a lot of special teamers. It looks like Brant Boyer's coming in and putting his stamp on this free agency because special teams was abysmal last year, Larry. And looks like the 49ers are making that a priority right now. So when it comes to the draft, they can worry about D-line, O-line, which I'm a little worried, not going to lie. Right now, the depth is bad. We can go through the list and look at the players who's on the D-line and the O-line, and you're like, ooh, this is bad. Like you said, Jake Brendel, it's not really intriguing, but we got to trust them. And at this point, it's going to be hard because they got a lot of talent that they need to replace, O-line, D-line, safety, et cetera, et cetera. And their track record sometimes drafting has not always been the best. I looked through all their draft picks these last couple of days, and I was like, oh, man. But last year's draft, if they can hit it like that, then we're in good shape. And I think, again, the Niners right now, they're doing what the Rams did 2 years ago, what the Bills did last year. They got rid of all their big, expensive contracts. They're trying to cut costs and just build a young team through the draft. And if they hit, they're golden. If they don't, then we're in trouble. But I don't mind what they did this offseason. Again, special teams was future last year, and I really like, some of those guys they brought in because, hey, let's fix the special teams. We were so mad at special teams last year. They cost many games, and looks like they said, hey, we're going to try to make that a better part of our team moving forward, and we're going to let the rest of this season be or this offseason be dictated by the draft. So not too upset. And, special teams players, Larry, they're not marquee players. So, yeah, we're not going to know these guys. That's why when you get a Jason Pinnock or, most of the guys they sign are who? Because they're special teamers. Nobody knows who a special teamer is most of the time.
Are they playing for 2026?
No, they're playing for next year too because they still have a good core. You still got Bosa, Warner, Lenore, Mustafa, Green, Pooney, Trent Williams, CMC, Jennings. Like they still have a lot of good talent. They just had to trim the fat.
Here's what Burford said about it. He was asked about this on the Psychotic and Iconic Sports podcast. He said he was asking about the team's mindset. Where does he see the 49ers heading into the season? He says, I know we ain't going to be where we just was. I can tell you that. I'm going to say Kyle and John are going to do everything in their power to make sure we're not in this predicament ever again. But I'll say the biggest thing right now for us is just going to be the chemistry, just making sure that everybody can feed on each other and everybody can mold to make sure that everybody's getting into certain spots, making sure we know how to play off of each other. I would say that, you know what I'm saying? That's a very, very, very important thing that people miss when it comes to playing football. So, I mean, he starts off by saying, we ain't going to be where we just was, which that's like his way of saying what? We're not going to the Super Bowl.
No,
so maybe
we ain't going to be where we just was is we're not going to be like last year. We're not going to be we're not going to be a 6-win team. Because
where they just were. Okay.
That's to justify last season what they're doing this offseason because whatever they've been doing, Larry, they won 6 games. So yeah, these guys they hit the Brooks, they didn't really help us last year because we won 6 games. Jalen Moore got a big contract, good for him. Aaron Banks, good for him. $77 million, good for that guy. Unbelievable.
Another thing I want to show you here. This was also from Coach Yak. He had this one out there. This is the Brandon Ayuk trade proposal. Ayuk, it looks like Ayuk to the Patriots with the first round pick and the second round pick for the 4th pick overall. And is that Hunter? Is that who that is? Is that the
I don't know. It's weird. So the guy that makes these graphics, football.
That's Ayuk in a Patriots jersey.
Yeah,
I think that's Travis Hunter. I think this is Travis Hunter. I don't think the Niners would take Travis Hunter, but who knows? It could be Mason Graham. Would you trade Ayuk and the 11th pick and your second round pick, all of that to move up to 4?
I wouldn't. You know what? I still have PTSD for the 49ers doing something similar and trading up for a trade line. I wouldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. You're telling us you need to build through the draft. You're telling us you need to build through the draft, and you need all these picks. I'm not doing that. I mean, I know Ayuk is still rumored to be traded, but I'm not doing all that for one pick in the 4th. Like, I don't think there's one player right now that can put the Niners over the top, because what we just said, they need a center, they need a D-line, they need a safety, because Jair Brown wasn't cutting it. They need an edge rusher. They need a lot more than just the 4th pick. I wouldn't do it. I think that's risky.
It's funny. I wouldn't do this trade either. Not that I wouldn't want to move up to number 4, but I don't see the value in it necessarily. Yeah. And I wouldn't want to give up that second round pick. But I'll say this, Cleveland has 4 6-round picks. And if Cleveland would take, reading the Kawakami piece on the Ayuk thing, he's like, Ayuk could be traded at any moment, any day. And then looking at some of the Ayuk stuff, as far as just what the chatter out there, sounds like the Browns and the Patriots are probably the 2 teams that may consider this. The Browns have 4 6-round picks. Would you take that? Would you take 4 6-round picks for Brandon Ayuk? Because I wouldn't want to, but I'll say this. Since what the Niners really seek in this trade is the $110 million financial commitment relief. That's what this trade's about. It's about relieving Jed of $110 million, which is what Kawakami said they could do if they traded him. That right there has tremendous value to the 49ers. If they really are hitting the reset, having Cleveland take $110 million off their plate and getting 4 picks in the 6th round is maybe not ideal, but I don't think that's a disaster. I'm intrigued by that. I'm intrigued by that because one, yes, they're day 3 picks, but yes, you've shown that you can hit on day 3 picks.
Yeah.
And then there's 4 of them, so you don't have to hit on all of them. And the other side of it is that you're giving Jed, you're getting that reset financially, and you're getting off the contract that they clearly want to get off of. I know it's, most people are thinking of a higher trade, thing because Ayuk was a number 1 pick. But if they're going to take $110 million off your plate, maybe 4 6-round picks is fair value. What do you think?
That's Larry. 4 6-round picks. The Niners historically under Lynch and Shanahan kill it in the late. They're better at late round
picks. Would you do that trade? Because I would.
Larry, I would do it instantaneously. Listen,
you would,
especially if they can clear that money. That's what this whole offseason is trying to clear that, the money, the dead cap and everything. And if they can get a team to say, hey, we're going to take that $110 million off, that's a huge step in the right direction for the 49ers. They hate that contract. We've seen so many reports saying the 49ers resent that contract, right? Kyle Shanahan wishes he never ran up the stairs. We know all this stuff. If they can get that money off the books, Larry, I think they'd be happy. 4 6-round picks is a steal for a guy whose knee is minced meat. Like it's I hate to say it, but ACL, MCL, meniscus, 4 6-round picks is that's a steal. Like that's a fleece of the century to me personally. I know he's a 1st-round pick, but to me, Brandon Ayuk right now is not worth the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. He's not worth that much. If you get 4 6-round picks, Larry, that's a steal. And last year the 49ers wanted to trade him to Cleveland or New England. So the rumors stick. They make sense. Both of those teams still need a receiver a year later. Now, last year, Ayuk shut it down. He didn't want to go with those teams. Steelers were in play. They don't need a receiver anymore, right? Because they got DK Metcalf. So it makes sense. I know the Niners are going to keep pushing towards this. There's going to be a lot more rumors coming out. There's been rumors this week, like we just said. But I think that if they do trade him, it's got to be within the next 2-3 weeks before the draft because they need to get those picks.
Before April 1st. Also before that bonus money.
Correct.
$22 million bonus.
So it'll be harder if they move past that bonus day and they don't trade them. So we're going to probably see a lot more rumors picking up in the next few weeks. So we'll see. And real quick, shout out to Chris Teal. He says it's his birthday, Larry. Happy birthday, Chris.
Happy birthday, Chris. Chris, where's that? Is he in the chat here?
Yeah, he's in there somewhere. He said it's my birthday. Yeah, good for him.
If I can find, there it is. Where there's Chris. I don't know if I see his birthday announcement here. But he says, thank you, Raj. Chris Teal. Happy birthday, Chris. People always, you got to make a big deal with somebody's birthday.
It is.
John Lynch, Raj, was one of 8 49ers who went up to Eugene, Oregon today, probably on a rainy day in mid-March, because it was Oregon's pro day. And the Ducks have 7 prospects in the top 130. Derek Harmon, Josh Connerly, Jordan Birch, Tez Johnson, Terrence Ferguson, Jamare Caldwell, and Jeffrey Bossa.
Yeah.
Supposedly Lynch was talking extensively with Bossa, the linebacker. What do you think, Raj, of the Bossa may fit the Niner profile, right? He's a converted safety. He runs well. He ran a 4.63 40. He had a 38.5-inch vertical. He definitely can cover. The Niners are always looking for linebackers who can cover. He covered and tackled at a pretty high level, so he could be a Greenlaw replacement in the mid-rounds. But what do you think? Who of those guys intrigues you from the Oregon Pro Day? Because I took some time this morning to watch some of these guys a little bit more extensively, and they've got some very polarizing prospects here. They really do. I mean, a lot of people love Derek Harmon, but you know what? I don't like Derek Harmon against the run at all. His numbers are not good against the run.
Okay.
So I mean, like the more deep dives I did on their guys, the more I thought, give an example. So Derek Harmon led the FBS in pressures this year with 55 among all defensive tackles, but he had a 29.8 tackle grade by PFF, bottom 12 among all defensive tackles in college football this year. He needs to get stronger. He's a good pass rusher, but he's not strong against the run. Think Hargrave. So that's a concern. Connerly is a real talent for sure. He shut out Abdul Carter, held him to 0 pressures head to head, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
He only allowed 9 pressures all season. He allowed only 2 sacks in the last 2 seasons. Connerly's interesting. He's super athletic, had the best 10-yard split of anybody. Then there's Jordan Birch, who, is kind of a guy who was a highly rated prospect that hadn't done a whole lot until this year. And then he busted out this year with 8.5 sacks. The guy that's intriguing to me is Tez Johnson, ran 4.51 at the combine. Raj, he did not run today. He's standing on the 4.51. When they asked him about it, he's like, hey, man, I'm not a track star. I'm a football player. Go look at my film. He did have 11 catches for 181 yards and a touchdown against Penn State. The guy had 169 catches and 20 touchdowns in 2 seasons at Oregon.
Yeah.
So, but he's also 150 pounds and he ran 4.51, which is relatively slow.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? Terrence Ferguson, the tight end, Caldwell, the defensive tackle, Bossa, Tez, Birch, Connerly, Harmon. Is there a Oregon Duck that you think John Lynch was most eager to see? Why did the Niners have 8 guys at the Oregon Pro Day? Who do you think they want?
They're definitely pulling up and doing their business this year, right? We said they're getting younger. He had his 8 talent scouts and himself there. I definitely think they're looking at linebacker. I think Bossa makes a lot of sense. You got Bossa and Bosa, Larry. Come on. Bossa and Bosa makes just you can sell shirts. Like, come on now. Bossa, Bosa. But no, to be honest, like, let's be real with it. Bossa definitely is a guy that I am going to keep an eye on. They definitely need to upgrade that linebacker position. Dre Greenlaw's gone. You need to get you need a guy that can be explosive. And I like Bossa at that spot. Mid-round, he could be a mid-round linebacker. Dre Greenlaw was a mid-round linebacker. And they like these Oregon guys. Diamond Lenore, 5th-round pick a couple years out of Oregon. I think it fits what they're looking for. Oregon's a good team, man. No matter what you say. I know SEC's got the top talent, but Oregon has been a really good team for a very long time. I do like Connerly. If they're going to go O-line, oh, man, I'd love to have Connerly. He's really good. I think he's a good prospect. Definitely a guy that was on my board here. And then in terms of offensive skill players, I like Ted's. He's a little undersized, but I think Ted's would be fun. on this offense. You know, they like those slot guys, those quick guys, and Ted's kind of. I feel like he'd be in the mold of what they're looking for, but he's a little undersized. So I like Savion Williams a little bit more than I like Tez Johnson, but he could be a guy they're looking at. And then in terms of defensive back, you know, they got a lot out there. They got Tysheen Johnson. I like him too. I think that's a guy they could kind of maybe look into. But I honestly, if they're going to pick one guy out of this list, I really do think it's Bassa. But we'll see. We'll see. And then, like I said, Connor Lee, that guy's great. If they're going to go O-line and it's out of Oregon, that's their guy.
We got this super here from Franco. He says, I got a fever. The only prescription is more mocks. Well, Franco, you ask and you shall receive. We're going to go mock here, and we're going to let Raj. We'll let Raj handle day 1 and day 2, and we'll see how many of the Niner needs we can actually fill in this draft without trading back and without doing anything crazy. So let's do that. Let's do it. Are you up for that, Raj?
Do it, man.
For a little mock here. We'll go a little mock draft, and you can handle the first and second and third rounds. So you've got the first 2 days. I'll handle the last round.
Okay.
We'll go with this one, the Pro Football Network one. We'll go fast. Niners go at 11, and you can we won't, even though we'll get offered trades, let's not do trades. We'll just go with trades. Let's just see with the picks that they have. Like, you know, if you say, okay, what have the Niners done as far as their needs? Well, okay, they've made a lot of special teams changes, except for the key one they haven't changed Jake Moody, right? So they've made some upgrades on special teams, but they still have a kicker that they're not sure of. They added Jason Pinnock and Richie Grant at the safety position. I think both those guys are pretty good players, to be completely honest. I like both. I'm not sure about Trey Tomlinson, Trey Brown, Siran Neal, the corners. I can't really speak to those corners. Can't really say much about Luke Gifford, just a special teamer. Yeah, but then they also did solve the backup quarterback because they added Mac Jones. They solved the blocking tight end. They added Luke Farrell. They solved the need for a veteran receiver with DeMarcus Robinson. So they have solved a few of their needs, but they still have gaping needs on the defensive line, especially.
Yeah.
And edge rusher, linebacker, free safety, corner. They need a lot on defense, and they need a couple of real strategic picks on offense. So let's do this. Let's we've got the simulator up, and here we go. We've got 7 rounds fast. We will enter the draft. Here we go. Okay. So there we go. We're not going to do trades, so we'll hide this. And you're up first at 11. And here are the picks right here. Can you see this on the side?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll move down slowly here so you can see all of them. Armand Membu, McMillan, Banks, Mikael Williams, Booker, Jalen Walker, Starks, Matthew Golden, James Pierce.
Can we organize it by like offensive line, defensive line?
Yeah. Here's O-line. Well, here's offensive tackle.
Yeah, that's what I want to look at.
Here's offensive tackle. These are not the guards, but Membu, Banks, Josh Simmons, Ursi, Cam Williams, Connerly, Savanea, Mbao, Emory Jones, Holland Pierce, Belton.
I think I know what tackle I'd want, but let me go look at the edge rush. Let me see the D-line real quick.
D-line, and that's the tackles. Let me see guards. Tyler Booker's the top guard. Donovan Jackson, he's also pretty good. Defensive tackles, Derek Harmon, Tyleek Williams, Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant, Deion Walker, T.J. Sanders, Darius Alexander.
Let me take a look at the edge rushers. We need some help for Nick Bosa, my man.
Mikael Williams, James Pierce, Scorton, Ezaraku, Mike Green, Landon Jackson.
All right. I think I got my pick. With the 11th pick in the 2025 NFL draft, the 49ers take offensive tackle Armand Membu out of Missouri. That's who we're going with.
Membu is a Niner.
Yeah, Membu's a Niner.
Mel Kiper predicted that earlier in his latest mock draft. We're now at pick number 43 in round 2. Okay. Eric Ayamanor from Stanford just went or Alec Ayamanor just went to the Jets. So this is the
All
board right
Here we
now.
go. Let's take a look at that defensive line. Let's see who's there. D-line, edge, and D. I need to see
D-line
my
here.
tackles. Yeah.
D-line, the tackles.
Mhm.
Tyreek Williams, Deion Walker, T.J.
Ooh.
Sanders, Darius Alexander, Alfred Collins, C.J. West. These guys, edge rushers,
Let's see
Landon
some-
Jackson, J.T. Tuamolo, Prince Umamalian, Braden
Lynch.
Swinson, Kyle Kennard, Ashton Gelati, Jordan Birch from Oregon, right there.
I got to take edge, man, because a good edge is hard to find. Oh, man, let's see. Let's take a look at these edges because I want a D tackle, but if we miss out here, there's gonna be like not as good edge rushers. I think you can find a good D tackle because there's so much in this draft.
I mean, the talk is that they're going to take Oladejo here.
Yeah, he's been.
which-
I was just gonna say he's a guy that's already been talked up. They've been looking at him. They've had a lot of personal interviews. So let's go with the theme that they're going to take Oladejo because it kind of seems like the signs are pointing towards that.
Okay. So Oladejo's there. Now you're in round 3.
Okay.
And we're not doing trades. And we'll go to all so you can take a look at who's the highest rated players on the board.
Take a look at the D line, D tackles. We need a D tackle. We need
Darius Alexander from Toledo is staring you right in the face right there.
He is.
And he was good. Shamar Turner's a good player from
Turner,
A&M. C.J. West from Indiana's kind of like a DJ Jones type.
Yeah,
Josh
he's good.
Farmer.
I don't want to
Florida
reach.
State.
We're going with the best available. Go up all the way. Let's go all the way top.
Darius Alexander.
Darius Alexander, number 6. No more. We can't take reaches. We got to go with the best available talent, Larry.
I like it.
Yeah.
You have one more pick here. Now, this would be an easy trade back, I think. Trade back from 100 to 103 and get pick
I could see
167.
something like that happen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, we're not going to do trades, but that would have been a trade for sure to make.
Yeah, 100%.
But now you've got, okay, so let's take a look at what you've done so far. You got one more pick, and you've got an offensive tackle, an edge rusher, and a defensive tackle. Right now you've addressed all 3 needs head on.
Yeah.
So now you could probably
go offense if I really wanted to. Let's take a look. Maybe go back to O-line. Let's take a look.
Okay, O-line. Let's take a look. Offensive tackle, Holland Pierce, Ozzie Trapillo. Logan Brown's interesting, Raj. This is Dom Pooney's teammate from Kansas.
Good player.
And he's actually a pretty good player. The other guy, this Charles Grant, is another really interesting player. Super long arms, very athletic. And then Caleb Rogers, when I looked at the film, he had the best testing numbers for speed among offensive linemen. Well, no, we can't show it.
So in theory, Larry, if they don't take tackle at 11, they don't take Armand Mambu, you can get one of these guys at the 4 pick. That's a very good.
Yeah, you could wind up getting a useful tackle. Caleb Rogers, and there's probably a couple more here that they tested out as pretty good players. Marcus, no, not Marcus Cox. Maybe it's guards. Maybe we'll take a look at the guards.
Let's look because we already took a tackle. I don't want them to take
Jackson Slater from Sac State is a pretty good player. Kandra, Clay Webb, Connor Colby from Iowa, Joshua Gray from Oregon State, my guy Willie Lampkin from Carolina. Some of these guys are pretty athletic.
Let's take a look at some skill players, wide receiver, tight end. I know they're in the market
wide receiver's interesting.
Oh, Savion Williams, my guy's there.
Savion Williams is like a Debo.
I know.
Ricky Williams or Ricky White is a good punt blocker. He's a pretty good player. Dante Thornton is a burner, ran 4.30. Badger from Florida is a pretty good player. Let's see the running backs. It's a great running back draft. Bayshul Tootin, Damian Martinez is a hell of a player. I was looking at some stats from Warren Sharp today on Damian Martinez. Damian Martinez is an intriguing player. I didn't realize how good of a player he was. Bayshul Tootin, Monangai from Rutgers is a good player. Raheem Sanders. I actually think this is the sweet spot for the running backs. Because you've got other guys here. Dylan Sampson, Brashard Smith. I like these guys down here. RJ Harvey, Taj Brooks.
Yeah, I like Taj Brooks.
There's some good backs. There's a lot of good backs.
Tight end wise. Yeah, Gunnar Helm. I like Gunnar.
Gunnar Helm, Mitchell Evans from Notre Dame's good. Gadsden
good.
from Syracuse. Let's see defense.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Let's go
Linebacker.
defensive tackle. Joshua Farmer, Jordan Phillips, J.J. Pegues, Jamari Caldwell. I mean, I think there's Simeon Aeneas Peebles, and Ty Robinson. To me,
Peebles, they did meet with Peebles and liked him, but
yeah,
I mean,
Peebles is interesting.
Linebacker
Linebacker-wise, you could go with Barrett Carter, Demetrius Knight, Jeffrey
Yeah.
Bassa.
Yeah,
Corner.
Bossa's
This is kind of a corner spot too.
Yeah.
Zy Alexander from LSU, Kobe Bryant from Kansas, Riley Parrish. These are good players.
It's tough. I kind of want to take a corner.
Billy Bowman from Oklahoma's a big-time safety.
He's good.
Let's see. Edge rusher. There's Jordan Birch. There's Powell Ryland. I'll tell you the guy that I love is this guy, Savion Jones. Because I'll probably take him in the next pick. But he's a defensive end, but he's 290. So, and Jaw Joyner is a 260-pound defensive end. Both those guys, and Rucker too. All three of these guys are big-time players. Savion Jones, came on Rucker, Jaw Joyner.
Yeah, he's a good one. This is tough, Larry. I kind of like take a cornerback here because after this, talent's going to go. But I'm going to go against the grain. As much as I want to get a linebacker, I was debating between Bassa and Savion Williams. I'm gonna go Savion Williams here. Take a wide receiver here. Take Savion Williams.
There ain't no apologizing for that. This guy is just a beast.
Big,
just a 6'4" Debo.
Let's do it.
6'4" Debo right there. Savion Williams. All right, so Membu Oladejo, Darius Alexander, Savon Williams, and now we're in the 4th round. So now I'm going to carry us home from here. Let's see what we got. So we filled offensive tackle, edge, defensive tackle, and wide receiver. Okay, so now let's take a look. Let's go all. Man, Barrett Carter is a hell of a player. There's no question about that. But I really believe that you gotta bolster the line. And so to me, this guy should not be available, but he is available. I'm going to take Joshua Farmer from Florida State. Okay. Florida State's just got some beastly defensive players. You've seen it. I mean, Renardo Green last year, Derwin James and so many others. And they just get some really good guys. And Farmer is a beast. So now you got a tag team partner for Darius Alexander. So to me, I wouldn't feel good unless I got at least 2 defensive tackles. All right, now let's see. Now I'm a little bit more open-minded, but you know what? I really do believe that this is also the draft to really get great players. I've been talking about get greatness. Don't worry about good players that fill a need. Go get great players. And I think this guy's potentially a great player. I'm going to go with this offensive lineman from William and Mary, Charles Grant, who's a guard. He's a center, but he's got 35-inch arms. He's fairly new to football, but I love his potential. I think in a year he could be a great offensive lineman. So now you got Membu and you got Charles Grant. So now you've got 2 offensive linemen and you got 2 defensive tackles. So now let's see. Still looking at the best player available. There's Bassa sitting right there. J.J. Pegues. Riley Leonard. I really like Riley Leonard. I love Damian Martinez, Elijah Roberts. These are a lot of good players here. I think I'm going to Aeneas Peebles because not only do I want 2 defensive tackles, I want a 3rd defensive tackle that can rush the passer who I can play at defensive end. So I want Peebles. I want to make sure I have an overpowering front. Now, here's a trade someone's offering me, 160 for 3 picks, and I would normally do that trade.
Yeah, for sure.
I absolutely would do that trade, but I'm not going to do it here. So now we've got 4 picks left, and we've got defensive line and offensive tackle covered. We took a wide receiver. We still don't have that running back. So I think and we don't have the linebackers. And I told you that's a great linebacker draft. Mm-hmm. And this is right about the spot to get one. So let's take a look at the linebackers first. And I think I might start my linebacker thing with Bassa.
Let's do it, baby. Bosa.
Jeffrey Bassa right there at 160. Now we're late in the draft. but I still think there's some really good players that are going. This is a deep, deep draft. Okay. So now I think the 7th round, I think you got to play best player available because it's just so hard to find guys who can make your team. So let's just go down the list and see who fell through the cracks. And there'll be somebody really good here. Jackson Hawes is a good player. He's a tight end. Dante Thornton is a speedy wide receiver. We added Savion, but we don't have that speed.
Trevor Etienne is available.
Trevor Etienne's a good player. Nazir Stackhouse is a good player. I like this corner, though, Mac McWilliams. Okay. I really like Mac McWilliams, the corner from Central Florida. And to me, you don't have a corner here. That's the one thing we didn't have. We didn't have a corner, so we got to have a corner. Okay, so we got a corner. We have a linebacker. We have 3 defensive linemen, 3 defensive tackles, and a defensive end. We have a couple offensive linemen. So let's see. What else can we get here? We're looking for a linebacker. I like this guy, Nick Martin, right here. Okay. From Oklahoma State. To me, he's really, really intriguing. Okay, so now we got our final pick. I could go tight end. I could go wide receiver with speed, Dante Thornton. Running back. I like that Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. Elijah Badger's a good receiver. But I'm looking for the home run pick. Do I see a home run pick? I love Urasek, the tight end from Georgia. Was at Stanford. Mario Anderson. Carson Bruner's a linebacker, though I really like Carson Bruner. And you have Bossa already. Let me see. Let me go to the linebackers specifically and see if who's available. Okay, Carson Bruner I love. David Benda, Chandler Martin I love. But I'm gonna take Eugene Asante. They met with him yesterday, I believe. Mm-hmm. Auburn linebacker. To me, this is a great player. I mean, this guy is a great player. He tested like an amazing athlete, and he produced like an amazing athlete. So there you go. There's our mock. We got offensive tackle. I mean, I'll say this. I think 49er fans would be really thrilled with this draft. Now, you didn't get a running back.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
And to me, Taj Brooks would be a phenomenal running back. So I would definitely, in a real world, like in this thing, so like what didn't you come away with? You don't have a running back. You don't have a tight end. You don't have a free safety. And but other than that, running back, tight end, and free safety.
Yeah, I mean, the running back definitely would have been something we could have got, but there's probably a lot of running backs left undrafted, and that's why I said 49ers could probably get a good running back undrafted. That's what Jordan Mason was. So I think that kind of hammers down the point of Kyle Shanahan saying, look, we don't need Mason because we can find another guy in the draft. Tight end would have probably been nice. I could see them drafting one. And then, safety, I think maybe over one of the linemen that we drafted. Probably take a safety there. Maybe a cornerback a little earlier. But honestly, if 49ers did this draft, Larry, they'd be cooking.
Look what they would have. They would have added 3 defensive linemen or 3 defensive tackles in Darius Alexander, Aeneas Peebles, and Joshua Farmer.
Wow.
And then an edge rusher in Oladejo and 3 really fast, undersized, but super instinctive linebackers. Jeffrey Bossa, Nick Martin, Eugene Asante.
That's fun.
A good, solid cover corner. And, 2 premier long-armed offensive linemen who can step in and play and maybe play at a high level. Membu and Grant could be fixtures on your line for the next decade. So I like it. I think we hit a lot of those needs. I think also, though, what we've learned here is that in this mock, the Niners have 11 picks.
Yeah.
And we solved a lot of their needs, but we also left them like 2 or 3 guys short. So if in an ideal world, I think you could move from 11 down a few spots and see if you could add a couple of picks along the way, maybe move down one other time, or maybe you do make the Ayuk trade. If we go back and let's see if we can see the full results here. Yeah, we can. Let's go to the 6th round for a second. Let's look at the 6th round. The Browns have these 4 picks, right?
Yeah.
179, 192, 200, 216. Let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, that those picks came to the Niners for Ayuk. They got 4 6-round picks. A lot of people would be pissed, by the way, if that happened.
Way. That's crazy if he were.
Well, because Raj, they're 6-round picks. You know what I mean? So people view them as not worthy of much.
I get it. And
look what they potentially could have gotten with those 6-round picks. Okay. Yeah. Let's just say Raheem Sanders from South Carolina, really explosive running back. This Connor Colby, I told you, is one of the guards that really tested out highly, that they liked, the same test that they liked a year ago. Taj Brooks. So let's just say at 179, they took Taj Brooks. At 192, let's just say they took Mitchell Evans, the tight end.
Yeah.
At 200, let's just say, who's good on this list at 200? They took Jalen Conyers, the tight end from Texas Tech.
Great.
I think a couple tight ends. And at 216, let's see, who's in the 7th round. In 216, they took Willie Lampkin, my guy in the
Willie Lampkin.
There you go, Willie Lampkin. And they wound up in the 7th, with basically, for Ayuk, they saved the money. They got Taj Brooks, Mitchell Evans, Jalen Conyers, and Willie Lampkin.
I mean, that
would be worth it. That would be worth it.
You can't be mad at that because you get rid of the you get out of that contract.
I agree.
And you get potentially 4 players that can contribute. They may not be all-stars, but they're going to contribute. You need depth instead of one guy that's going to miss a big chunk of the season. I think it'd be smart business. Again, to me, that's a dub. That's a W in the chat type of trade, Larry. I need it.
No doubt.
I need it.
No doubt. Final thought. Let me get this one from Mr. Box. Willie Lampkin kind of looks like Larry. That would explain everything.
That's funny.
Awesome. WK. Willie Lampkin is built like a tree stump. Willie. I gotta show you guys some Willie.
Larry's the white Willie Lampkin.
Wait, maybe if I wish I could put myself like side by side next to Willie Lampkin, so we could all see it. Let me type in Willie Lampkin.
I can get it here. Here you go, Larry.
What do you got?
Hold on. Here we go. Can we get it?
Oh, you got to be a little closer. Almost a little closer. There we go.
I see it.
Wait, which one's me and which one's Willie?
Who's who? I've never seen you both in the same room.
Exactly. We've never been the same place at the same time.
Exactly.
Let me see if I can find me some Willie Lampkin. Just for the fans out there. Just for the fans. Yeah. There's applause. Here's one. Raj is gonna love this.
That's good.
Raj, check this out. You are gonna love this. This is why this is my draft crush dream pick. Willie freaking Lampkin. Look at this pick. Look at this one.
Let's see.
Here he is. You see him circled. There he is. You see him circled.
Beast, yeah. See the
Here we go. Roll the tape.
Roll it, baby. Oh man, he's a monster. He's a monster.
Pancake.
Get him. Draft him.
Pancake. International House of Pancake.
Look at that. IHOP, baby.
IHOP. Willie Lampkin. Wow. You got to love the wide base, though. And he's got really long arms.
Dude,
really
he's
strong.
A monster. Look at that. If we draft him, it's over, baby. I'm getting jersey day one.
Willie Lampkin. I'll get a jersey. Yeah, I will wear a Lampkin jersey if you get me Willie Lampkin.
Is he 53 as an old lineman? I love this guy.
53.
That's a dog.
Who's the 53 in the Niners?
D. Winters.
Not anymore.
He's got to give that number up.
Not anymore. D. Winters, give it up, buddy. Give it up. Willie freaking Lampkin, everybody.
Wow, what a dog.
Good stuff. Good stuff. There is, that's the beauty. I love being able to flip onto YouTube and show a couple of those highlights.
Not bad.
let's see. So there's another one here that I got to show you that's really a pretty great too. Yeah, here we go. Look at this one. Look at this one. You're going to love this one, Raj. Another International House of Willie Lampkin.
International House of Willie Lampkin.
Here he is. Wait 1 second. Okay, so he's playing right guard right here.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, but you're going to get the end zone copy too, I think. So he drives that guy. Oh, pancake. Now we get the end zone. Watch the end zone. It's better from the end zone. Here he is, the right guard.
It's a good vantage point. Grind him out.
Willie freaking.
Oh, man.
Keep those legs churning. Keep the legs churning.
Look at these. He's just churning those legs. Dude. He's beast. You sold me. Willie Lampkin. Let's go. Larry, can you be a draft scout for the 49ers? Let's do it.
Willie Lampkin, everybody.
Do it.
They invite me in. Larry, your thoughts? John, I've got 2 words for you. Willie Lampkin.
I know. He's a beast, man.
John Muniz, draft a center, please. Also draft Bryant from KU.
Kansas University.
Kansas. I got to check him out.
Yeah.
All right, Raj. What do you got cooking the rest of the week, man? What do you got moving and grooving? I know you got lots of things.
Yeah, same old. Always cooking up content. I don't know. I think the Niners aren't going to do too much more, so we'll see how it goes. But we'll be here as soon as there's any news. We'll be ready to roll.
Last thing on your way out the door, our friend Kyle Posey on Niners Nation has a pretty interesting story out right now, and it's 3 veteran pass rushers remaining in free agency that the Niners could pursue. Have you seen this article yet?
Not yet.
Here, his 3 options are Zadarius Smith, Charles Omenihu, or DeMarcus Walker. I haven't seen a lot of DeMarcus Walker. He's a bigger bodied guy. I think he played at Florida State. Yeah. Omenihu would not be bad, actually. Omenihu would not be bad.
Yeah, he's a former Niner. I think he would fit. I mean, obviously he'd fit right in. Not horrible. Honestly, none of those guys move the needle for me. But if they're going to add a veteran, I'll be happy with it. I think the Niner fans are mad because we didn't get Azeez Ojulari, and the Eagles signed him for pennies on the dollar. Yeah, he fits the Eagles. He's going to take over Brandon Graham. They lost Sweat and Graham. He's going to come right in and be a dog with the Eagles. I don't know if he would have been that much of a dog with the Niners because we need a lot of help. I don't know. I wouldn't be mad with any one of those 3 guys, Larry, that was mentioned, but I'm not going to say that they're going to save the team. I think what we talked about going through the draft and finding a stud probably going to be the best case scenario. But if they take one of those 3 guys, it's going to help them because right now, any one of those 3 guys is better than Drake Jackson and Robert Beal. Those 2 guys were big misses, unfortunately.
Niners need to hit in the draft. There's no question. They've added a lot of pressure. Yeah. Do you think that because they do have quite a few needs that they should seriously look at a trade back at 11? Or do you think, they got a bunch of needs, but get a great player there. Don't worry about trading back. Or would you like to see them trade back and get into the because to me, if you could start your draft at 15 or 18 and get, a Membu or a Walter Nolan or a Kenneth Grant or, Jedi Barron or just any great player involved in a trade back scenario, I think that might be the play. I think that might be the angle. I mean, obviously you want to get a great player first and foremost, but to me, trading back and getting a couple extra picks might be the way to go.
It might be the way because they do have a lot of needs like we talked about tonight. And you might want to get really good players because you want to build up as many starters as you can get for this team. If you go out there and draft some really solid players, you're going to be starting for your team for the next 4 years. You did what you needed to do. But the other part is if you can get a home run, like if there's a star that's going to be there at 11 and you're just like, oh my God, we can't pass this guy up. Yeah, you have to do it. But if let's say Mason Graham or a superstar blue chipper that you really want is off the board, you probably should back up because if there's no home run blue chipper, load up on some talent because you do have a lot of holes to address. O-line, D-line, there's some players that you can stack up and build your starting defense and offensive line with this draft. And again, that's what the Rams did. They got 2 premium Pro Bowl D linemen in that draft after they lost Aaron Donald, man. And it's just damn, can the Niners do that? And I would love them to do something like that. I would
Yeah.
really love them to just go get like 2 Pro Bowl players that you're like, damn, what a draft. Like you feel really good about. And if they swing and a miss at 11, you were going to be so mad that they, passed up on some good talent.
Yeah, I mean, swinging and missing at 11 is going to be a disastrous situation. Carson Taylor says, if we trade back, could we get another second? Also, who y'all got in the tourney? I got Florida versus Duke, with Florida winning. I kind of like Auburn. I think Auburn's pretty damn good. As far as can they trade back and get a second, they'd probably have to trade back more than 10 spots. So I think you could get a second. If you traded from 11 to 24, 25, yeah, I think you could get a second round pick for sure.
Yeah.
So it's, but if you move back to 15, probably not. Probably that's more like a third round pick.
Yeah, more likely.
Yeah.
See, I do think they'll try to wheel and deal and get some picks. Like you said, there might be a point where mid round they go from a pick back to maybe 20 picks back, but they get 2 picks in that like 4th round or something. I know that John Lynch always trades around, but it has to be worth it. And he knows he can get a certain guy. So I think they'll definitely trade her, here or there. As far as the tournament, I like Duke, but Cooper Flagg has to be healthy. If Cooper Flagg's ankle ain't ready, they're getting upset in the 2nd or 3rd round. But I got UConn. 3-peat, baby.
I'm not a college basketball expert. I'll be a college basketball expert in a couple hours after I watch the preview show.
Don't watch
as of tomorrow, I'll know everything there is to know about college basketball. As of today, I know nothing. But tomorrow, and by Thursday, I mean, I'll be lecturing other people on the tournament. By Friday, I'll be hailing my tournament wins. By Saturday, I'll be looking at NBADraft.net's mock draft for the June NBA draft.
But by Friday, Larry, my bracket's already gonna be busted because you think you know it all. You're like, by Friday night, your bracket is typically busted. But yeah, you know what?
5 degrees of Larry Krueger's college basketball fandom in March. I print out a bracket, then I learn the players, then I talk trash about to the other people what they don't know. By Saturday, I'm looking at mock drafts and looking ahead to the NBA draft.
Yeah, no, the best part for me is whenever as I used to be like so heavy into college basketball and I used to study it and this and that. And I would never, I would always I'd always do tournament pools with my work and stuff. And I would typically win. But then there was years where I just went over and I was like analyzing each pick and I wasn't, doing good. These last few years, screw it. I just go in there, look at I do a few little I do a little bit of research here and there, but I don't, and I've done really well now that I don't overanalyze before.
Exactly.
When I used to spend hours, and I get cooked, and my bracket would be busted by Thursday night. So
I'll say this: if you're gonna if you're gonna fill out your bracket, at least before you fill out the bracket, at least look at the spreads for the first round games. Because you get too caught up on a seed and not think about the spread, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, I totally like this team, and then they're a 1-point favorite or a dog, and you didn't even realize it. Sometimes the lower seeds are favored. Vegas does not live by the seeding rules in any way, shape, or form.
But the way
go ahead.
The way it is now, Larry, because there's so much parity in basketball. Sometimes these 12 seeds or 13 seeds are better because they have all seniors, and then this 5th seed or 4th seed or whatever, they're young players that are not disciplined, and these lower ranked seeds have great coaches that have been there and building this team. So it's sometimes smarter. Like a 12 always beats a 5. If you don't have 12 over 5 in your bracket, you're cooked, Larry. You gotta have a 12 over. Yeah.
And WK, one last comment in the chat. Rumpel Lampkin. There you go. This show is sponsored by LearnKeys Upskill Academy, an online learning platform designed to get you job ready in 6 months or less. Whether you're interested in IT, cybersecurity, marketing, or another high demand field, check them out. They've got over 30 certification programs to help you take that next step in your career. They've been in business for 37 years, over 200,000 students that they currently work with, and they place about 100 people a month in really good paying jobs. So the link is in the description. LearnKeys Upskill Academy, and thanks to them for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Gold Rush says Niners need to pay the man already. What the hell? That's right. Pay Brock Purdy hopefully that gets done one of these days. We also have this one. We almost didn't get this. John Muniz, he said, draft a center, please. Also draft Bryant from KU. And then we got this one from Blood Moon. Spencer Burford saying a lot of positives. Interesting. So I read that as Spencer Burford was saying that they weren't going to be where they were, and I was thinking of the Super Bowl, but he means they weren't going to be where they were, a 6-win team out of the playoffs. So his negative comment was actually a positive comment. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Thanks to Raj. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to LearnKey. The links are in the description below. Have a great night. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get